Hi, everyone. John Michael Coppola here, and welcome to the Chicago Theater Makers Podcast, where we chat with the actors, directors, choreographers, designers, producers, music directors, lyricists, playwrights, and all the artists who make the Chicago area theaters come alive. We're so excited to have you here with us today. But before we get started, we just want to remind you to please like, subscribe to, and share this podcast with your friends and colleagues who you think would appreciate the conversations we're having. We'd be so grateful for your support in this way so we can continue to bring these stories for years to come. Thanks again for being here, and now, curtain up on today's episode. Today's guest shares their name with a famous, recently departed Hollywood icon and also a renowned female jazz vocalist, the relations of which we actually were unaware of until the time of this interview. With a career spanning decades in opera, straight plays, and musicals all over the world, some of his performance credits include Titanic, Ragtime, She Loves Me, The Full Monty, and Catch Me If You Can at the Marriott. The first national tours of the Gershwin's Porgy and Bess, Come From Away and Company, Five Guys Named Moe, Satchmo at the Waldorf, and Porgy and Bess at Court Theater, and as the title character of Carlyle at the Goodman Theater. I hope you enjoy my conversation with Chicago's own James Earl Jones II. Now let's go to the top of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so proud and honored to have my good buddy James Earl Jones with me here today. James, how you doing?
I am well, and just for tax purposes, it's definitely James Earl Jones II.
James Earl Jones II. Yeah, so we're going to get to your very famous name in just a moment. But first, we always start every podcast the same way, and that is to tell our listeners and our viewers who are looking at this on YouTube a little bit about your background, where you grew up, about background, and also your training, but most importantly, what your first theater experience was. So off to you.
Okay, well, Chicago, Illinois, born and bred.
Awesome.
I attended all of my schools. Decatur Classical for elementary, which it's great. West Rogers Park, fantastic place. After school, attended the Bernard Horwich JCC, which was always my fave. Went to Whitney Young High School, where apparently Michelle Obama also went, but I went there from 7th grade through 12th, and then went to University of Illinois Champaign-Urbana, and I majored in vocal performance studying opera. My first theatrical experience that I performed in, or my first theatrical experience that I just experienced?
Traditionally, the answer is the first one you've performed in.
The first one I performed in.
Yeah.
The first one I performed in, no matter how old.
No matter how old, first one.
Okay. So my first theatrical experience was Toby Tyler and the 10 Days at the Circus. And I did that in second grade at Upstage Downstage. It was located at 4411 Oakton. It's like seared into my brain. I didn't get into doing that performing because I thought I had a love for it. I got into it because my parents were like, you have too much energy and you must do something with that energy. And so now we're going to find something for you to do, because 2 years later, I joined the All City Elementary Youth Chorus. And again, it was like, how many different things can we get him involved in to release some of this energy? And so that's when I did it. But even then, like, Toby Tyler was a great experience. I actually played Toby Tyler. But it wasn't until later that I realized that this is what I wanted to do.
Now, I have to ask you about this because I have a very good friend whom I unfortunately have not seen in many, many years. He's a Broadway veteran. His name is John Sheridan. His former name was John Beecher. Just to give you some of his credits, he was the Tulsa in Angela Lansbury's Gypsy. He was Barnaby in the Mary Martin's Hello Dolly that like traveled the world tour. Okay. Dear friend of mine, met him doing my first summer stock job ever, or did a theater job ever. And he wrote a musical of Toby Tyler but this was like in the 90s, like when maybe it was developing, before I met him, but using all Irving Berlin tunes because like they had all the ones he'd chosen
Sure.
had become public domain. So I'm just sort of
Wow.
fascinated to hear that something out there actually exists. I mean, is it like a theater for young audiences or like a school production type
Right.
of property?
So it was a play. It was not a musical.
Okay.
So then I guess an adaptation was created because
Okay.
I did the play.
Wow. I mean, of course he knew this story Toby Tyler was a published story, a published work.
Hmm.
Um, I hadn't heard of it until he brought it to my attention, but like he had a whole like reading and a whole demo tape on a cassette. I mean, he was really trying to get it produced for many, many years. So I'm just
Gotcha.
fascinated to know that something out there existed that you were actually a part of. That's
Listen,
amazing.
that is the wildest thing I have ever. I mean, like, I would have never known that there was ever a musical adaptation, and I guess you would have never known.
Right,
But
because he never had it produced. I just had all the documents lined up and like
mhm,
could send his packet to whomever wanted it, but it just sadly never really got out there enough to the right people. So it's sort of languished, and I actually need to I should get in touch with him because I haven't been in many, many years. But I digress.
uh,
So um, amazing. So you did it when you were a little kid. No sports for you, just theater, and that was amazing. I love that your parents like didn't think about the sports avenue for you. They thought the arts. Are there other artists in your family?
yes. So, on my father's side, there are a couple of renowned artists. So one of them is the older actor who recently passed away, James Earl Jones. Um, and
Okay, I didn't realize you actually were related.
aha, okay.
So
Uh,
now we know. Now the secret's out.
so, yeah, the secret's out.
Okay,
Um, and also the famed blues singer Dinah Washington.
my
Also,
head just exploded.
I know. I know. Right now, I have her obituary sitting on my dad's chest. So, yep,
Wow.
it is right downstairs.
And how removed were they from your dad?
So, um, James, my dad used to call him Jimbo. They are second cousins. Um, and so I believe Jimbo's grandfather was my dad's great grandfather.
Okay.
However, the Dinah Washington thing is so interesting because it was at Whitney Young that I discovered I was related because I I wasn't involved enough in music in a way that like it interested me enough to kind of like do research about artists, especially back then. I mean, we were looking in encyclopedias, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Going to libraries, there wasn't any Google. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? So like I remember my honors topics in Black Studies teacher. It's my sophomore year of high school. Um, Miss Estrelita Dukes.
I love that name.
Estrelita Dukes. And I come into the class and we're all introducing ourselves. And I introduce myself and Miss Dukes is like, "Oh, you look like you could be family." And I was like, that is that is the most random thing I have heard is someone at my school, a teacher no less, randomly saying like, you you could be family. I was like,
Like her family.
yeah. She's like,
Okay.
we could be related. I was like, no, Miss Dukes. No, 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 we're not related. But um I kind of let it go, and she was like, "I'm gonna do my research. We gonna find out." I was like, "Okay, that's fine. You do your thing." And um we happened to have a like parent visit day, right? So parents come on up and everybody's talking. And of course, Miss Dukes is talking to my dad, and it is revealed in that moment that Dinah Washington is her sister, right? So like,
What?
right. So Dukes was her married name, right? But her last name is actually Jones. And Dinah Washington's actual name is Ruth Lee Jones. And so we discovered that they were sisters and that my dad and her were second cousins as well.
Oh my God.
It's crazy. It's
I
crazy.
literally did not expect any of that in this episode. I was literally going to touch on the name question because you and I touched on it years ago when we first
Sure.
met, and you were just like, yeah, 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 and you kind of like brushed it under the rug, and I seriously had no clue.
Well, it's wild because I feel like the thing is like people ask me about the older actor
Sure.
because of the name, because of our voices, right?
Yes.
But the reality of it is that like I just I feel like it's not something that I personally try to focus on, right?
Sure.
It's not something that I'm like, like, because I feel like when I do, then people try to make it seem like that's what I'm using as like my springboard,
Hmm.
but
Yep.
I don't I want my talent to speak for itself.
Yep.
Um I have no issue with anyone who happens to, come into like a Nepo situation and they're like, oh man, my dad is this, my grandpa's that, my mom, my aunt. I get it. Like, it's all good. But
Yeah.
like, I just want to like do the work and have it speak for itself.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Now I have a very similar I had a very similar thought pattern early in my career. So obviously my last name is Coppola. There's the jury is still out whether we are related or not to the famous family.
Sure.
But when I did my entire school career growing up on the same report card, my last name would be spelled correctly and my parents' last name would be spelled incorrectly. And it got me so angry because I think that's just laziness. Who
Yeah.
printed up a report card, noticed the names were spelled incorrectly, and didn't ask to correct it one way or the other? So,
Sure.
fast forward many years later, I was blessed to be cast in the tour of the musical She Loves Me, based on the 91 revival. And we get to Toronto to tech the show, and all of my costumes are labeled Cappola. Now, there's a cast list that someone in the wardrobe department could have referenced, but chose to not. And from literally that, now I should also say, growing up, my family and I would say our last name as Coppola, which my family back in New York still says it that way, as did my dad. Now, my dad, going a little further back, my dad emigrated here from Paris with his family when he was 13. His
Mhm.
brother was 6 years older, so he was 20.
Okay.
So my dad didn't know any English when he came here. His brother learned English here. So his brother had a French accent his entire life. My dad did not have a French accent, had an American accent. But my dad's brother said Coppola. And my dad said Coppola. Even though my bloodline's Italian, my dad was from France. In France, they say Coppola. That's a whole other story. Anyway, fast forward to I'm doing She Loves Me. I saw that they mislabeled my costumes. And from that day onward, I began saying Coppola. If just for
Uh,
the only reason was so that people would at least make the mental association and spell it properly. Because
I,
to me, there is no greater disrespect than to misspell someone's name. You can pronounce. I honestly don't care how people pronounce it. I really don't. But if it's on the page, it's going to be a credit that I'm going to be given a byline, something. anybody, their name should be spelled the way they want it spelled properly. I've always held that. And so like it's not even about the trying to make the association because I want to advance a career. That's I'm the same way. Like I don't care about that.
Yeah.
That was really my impetus to start pronouncing it that way. In fact, funny sidebar, and this is getting really long, but I don't care. It's my show. My my wife and I got married. The band leader is going over the names for him to introduce as people walk into the ballroom. And he says, okay, Susan Nathan Lafer, John and Camille Coppola. And I said, oh, wait, I'm sorry. My dad pronounces it Coppola. And he looked at me and he said, you're joking, right? I said, no, I'm actually not joking. So he wrote it down. And on the DVD, you hear him stumble before he says my dad's last name because he's like, oh, I got to get this right.
Yeah.
And that was a true account of the two different ways of the pronunciation of my last name and the one which I prefer to say. And my family back in New York, they still say Coppola. So there we are.
I love that.
I can relate.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm so currently I'm doing this show, Catch Me If You Can. And um the amazing actress who I work with, Alexis J. Roston, we were like looking over the playbill, and like even in rehearsals, she was like, they're missing the J. Somebody was like, what? She's like, they're missing the J. They're like, it's Alexis Roston. She's like, it's Alexis J. Roston. She was like, I'm not giving you the full middle name. That's fine, but I'm gonna need you to say Alexis J. Roston.
Yeah.
So it was changing the playbill, and like even on some of the rehearsal sheets where they didn't put it, she would just write it in like, oh, but I guess they didn't know. Let me just put this.
Keeping them honest. Love that.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I'm so glad we had a little bit of more of a deep dive into the name thing because I literally just added that question right before the episode, and I'm glad that I did. I'm glad it sort of came out of nowhere and answered itself, really.
Yeah.
So you've had a lot of different roles. Obviously, you said you have a background in opera, and you were amazing as Carlyle at the Goodman. I mean, those are two totally different types of performances. So give me a little bit about your opera background, like roles you've played, and then also with Carlyle and how your preparation for each of those types of performances differed, or what was the same, if at all.
Yeah. So I would say that the thing about opera versus musical theater is constant vibrato.
Well, Carlyle was not a musical. Carlyle was the play.
True. But if we're like the difference between like musical theater and opera is that the difference between opera and a play is that the expectation that you have to do certain things is different, right? So in operas, it's like we expect you to sing. We would like for you to act, but we expect you to sing. And anything that you do outside of that is a gift. You're like, oh, I'm dancing. Like, and this is not even like I'm not saying that you are this a performer is better or worse, but essentially like the way the union sets it up is like AGMA sets it up so that any dancing you do, lifting over a certain amount of weight, all of those things are fees. Like you get paid more for those things. In the world of Actors Equity, it's like I'm gonna need you to do 2 spins, a cartwheel, dance a jig. The money's not gonna change. So
exactly.
right. So go ahead and MC Hammer across the stage that way and that way, which is almost what I did in Carlyle.
I remember.
Yeah. What I love about, but what I do love about plays, what I loved about Carlyle was that it really like it makes an audience think, right? I feel like every time people come to the theater, they are they're changed in a way, right? Um, they have an experience, right? They have this experience. Ideally, it is very visceral. It is very in the moment. Um, it makes you laugh. It makes you cry. It makes you feel. It makes you think about your own life experiences. Um, and that is just theater across the board. But Carlyle was different. Um, at the Goodman, um, it was just such a different experience. Just plays in general. You don't wake up thinking to yourself, do I have my high notes and my low notes? Right?
Yes. Yes.
You don't think to yourself, boy, allergies. They are taking me out, Lord. I can't do it. You know, you wake up and you're like, I'm gonna do a play,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just gonna talk and see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I do love that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also, also Carlisle was wild because it's 2016, you know, it was an election year, right?
Oh, right.
Um, and here, you know, you're telling this story about a young black conservative, right? Um, also, also, it was written in a way that it purposefully put cast members in the audience, right? So you have cast members in the
Right.
audience
Right. I remember that
um,
now.
who were not listed the same in the playbill. So then
Right.
people, and a lot of people don't open the playbill anyway, but like they're sitting there and they're just like, this is going to be a lovely experience. I'm
Mm.
very excited. And you're watching, and then someone pops up next to you and says something. You're like, oh my God, what is that? And it's like,
Yeah.
and then, and then sometimes that person who jumped up influences someone else to jump up, someone who's not associated with the show,
Oh.
someone who's like, oh yeah, I got something to say too. You know what? Hold on, let me get up. It's like, no, you can't get. And like they set up a microphone for some of the cast members, right? So then the cast members get up to the microphone. They're like, yeah, let me say what I got to say. And other people are getting up and they're like, I too have something to say. And I've kept it bottled in for too long. You're like, no. We need you to take a seat. So what happens is now we have to get real security.
Oh my. How
So
often did this happen? Like every show?
almost every show,
Wow.
someone had a hankering to rise on up. And they're like, I don't agree with what's happening. And I'm gonna tell my story. You're like, sit your old ass down. Go ahead now, sit down. But that's what happens is security essentially comes in. We started having security to just regulate the crowd, right? Which is
Wow.
honestly one of the few times that I think the Goodman has probably ever like had security in the theater specifically to, I mean, you have ushers who are like, can you keep your feet off?
Hmm.
No pictures. But like there was actually security that's like, sir, I need no, don't get up. You want to get up, don't get up. I'm waiting for you to get up. Don't get up. So I think that was that was a very visceral thing, right? Every night, especially because I was like breaking the fourth wall, right? I'm talking to the audiences the entire time, and it's
Yeah.
yeah, it was really awesome.
Wow. Now, what roles in opera had you played, and when did you stop performing opera to pursue non-opera opportunities, musical theater, dramatic theater, TV commercials, all that
Yo,
stuff?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Like if I could get back to it, I would. It
Oh,
it's
cool.
it's the thing is like opera is a different beast in the regard of like when they're casting, when they audition,
Hmm.
like they're like 2 years ahead in the game, right?
Mm,
And so
I
you
see.
have other things going on, and sometimes, it's wild because you're like, oh, I'm committed to this. And then you're like, oh, but these other things are happening. And I think that might be a really great opportunity. And so then you're like, I don't want to be that guy who's constantly like accepting opera opportunities and then being like,
Hmm.
yo, I'm out.
Yeah, yeah. It's
But
tough.
um when I first started performing, I did Rigoletto, playing Rigoletto out in Oak Park.
Oh, I would love to have
Um,
seen that.
I did I Pagliacci, which honestly, it's crazy because like a lot of the things when I was doing opera, when I and even when I first started doing musicals, like I'm the most non theater, non-opera person who actually does it, right? Like I have a skill set, I had a skill set for it, but I didn't study it the way I should have. So
Okay.
there were a lot of things that were very new to me in the moment, right? I'm like, they were like I Pagliacci, and I was like, great, great. And they were like, are you familiar with it? I'm like, yeah, I'm familiar with it. I
I've heard of it.
right. So the E is separate. Then it's a Pagliacci. Yeah, man. Come on, man. Who don't love a Pagliacci, man? At Thanksgiving dinner, we talk about it. So it was like, no, you don't know it, and that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
But like the show was familiar, became familiar to me because there was, as you know, in many, many films, movies, they always have this clown singing this very like sad song.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing it in come on, James, let it come back to you. The Untouchables.
Mm.
The Untouchables. And there was this moment, right, where Sean Connery he gets shot and he's like dragging himself away. And then you have De Niro um is sitting in this large theater and the clown is singing and he's just crying. And oh, it's beautiful. He's playing Capone, right? He's crying in the moment while he's already ordered this hit. And Sean Connery gets shot and it's wild. I'm like, man. But I've heard the music. I've heard the music countless times. I mean, it's like um I did I sang Largo al Factotum, right? Which is a lot of people just know it as like the Figaro song.
Mm-hmm.
Figaro, 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 right? And it was like I did that in I did that in Rome some years ago. And I remember seeing it as a child, watching Tom from Tom and Jerry sing it.
Yep.
And Elmer Fudd, doing the Valkyrie and Oh Boomhilda,
That's right.
and it's like so they have these operas that you hear and you like put it together and you're like, ah, that's what it's from, right?
Hmm.
Before you actually approach the music.
Sure.
Um, and so when uh aside from Rigoletto, aside from I Pagliacci, um, I didn't really let's see, I would say most things after that were operettas. They were Gilbert and Sullivan,
Okay.
um, which was really kind of like my jumpstart into theater.
Sure. Makes sense.
Um, and then like on a grand scale, I did Porgy and Bess at the Lyric. I did Porgy and Bess at San Francisco Opera, and then
And
I
you did the tour, didn't you? The
I
recent
did
tour?
do the tour, right? So
Yeah.
Porgy and Bess at the Lyric in '08, San Francisco Opera in '09. Both of those were directed by Francesca Zambello. And then I did the musical version at the Court Theater in 2011.
Oh,
Right. So, um, let's see. Charlie was the director for that one. Ron OJ was our consultant. Um, and I did that in 2011 at the court. And then I did the tour in 2013, 2014 with my good friend Nathaniel Stampley, who is actually doing Catch Me If You Can with me
that's
here.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Was he Porky in it?
In the tour, yes.
Oh, I did not realize that. Okay. What
Yeah.
did I can who was Bess on the tour?
Let's see. Bess was Alicia. She gonna be mad. She gonna be mad.
If she's a listener. Oh, maybe she's a listener.
It's actually interesting. It's like the weird facts that you remember right now, like coming off the brain. Like I know she's got twin boys. I know her husband is a composer as well. Um, and for some odd reason, Alicia's last name is leaving me.
That's okay. That's
I
okay.
feel
I
awful.
guarantee you she'll never find out.
And then then I get a phone call like, "Hello, James.
Right? It's
Hey,
Alicia.
right. Hey, Alicia, what's going on?"
Say my last name now.
Right, right. Yes, I was watching your thing and listening to Destiny's Child, and I was wondering, can you say my name? I'm like, I can. I can say the first part. She was like, "Oh, that's not good enough, baby." But yeah, but she was an awesome Bess. Both Nate and Alicia were part of the Broadway company. He covered Porgy on Broadway. She covered Bess, and then became the matinee Bess when uh let's see, she became the matinee Bess, I would say like halfway through the run. Um
Yeah.
and yeah, Audra was like, I'm gonna do I'm gonna do 6 shows, I think.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay.
Can't say I blame her. She's
No.
Audra McDonald. With the two different types of performances you've been involved in, do you
Mhm.
have any favorite warm-ups or pre-show rituals or hacks that you like to rely on to get yourself ready?
No.
That's
Like,
okay.
you know,
Some people,
like I
Ethel Merman would show up to the theater and they would knock on her dressing room door and say, Miss Merman, the show's about to start. Don't you want to warm up? And she'd say, honey, that's what the first act is for. I mean, some people
listen.
just don't have a pre-show ritual. It's all good.
So I mean, I will say I do some straw technique, you know.
Yeah.
I do the straw technique, and I used to I used to do this full bodied warm up, and then I was like, well, that's just tiring the voice, right? Like, let's do some straw technique. Let's do some lip trills. Um, saline seems to work for some people. I don't know that it really works for me, but I do enjoy ginger, right?
Good stuff.
Have a little bit of ginger. And then I get it. Then I get it crack-a-lackin'. I will say during the tour of Come From Away, there's a line that my character sings towards the end of the show, and I would sing it and modulate it 3 times all back to back. It was looking at the window at the world underneath, and I would sing it half step, then I'd sing it half step, and then my buddy Harder Klingman, who had a much higher voice from wherever he was, you could hear him singing it like 3 whole steps higher. And I was like, that was the finish, right? I'd sing it 3 times, and then the fourth time was harder over there in the background, and it's like, yeah. Um,
You gotta love Fred's keeping it real for you.
Listen, gotta keep it real.
That's right. That's right.
He's an amazing first tenor, but not
Yeah.
even.
I forgot you did come from away. I saw the tour when it came through. You were wonderful on that. It was great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
I've seen all your tours when they come through, James. Oh,
you.
I didn't see Porgy and Bess. I saw Come From
No,
Away
we
and
didn't
I
come to
saw
Chicago.
but I saw Come From Away and I saw Company when you came through with Company. Tell us about some influential people you had in your life that helped you on your path to your current career. Obviously, your mom and dad must be a big part of that because they wanted to get you good and tired by the end of the
Sure.
day. But anybody else you'd like to
Well,
mention?
I mean, I so I wasn't like, to be fair, like I wasn't a theater kid. Like I did play
Mhm.
sports. Like I played football.
Okay.
And then I played rugby. And
Wow. At what age?
I played rugby in college.
Okay, I was at 6. That's a
Yeah,
tough sport.
it is a tough sport.
Yeah. Oof.
Um, but I would say the person, I think I wouldn't say that it was an influence per se. I just think that my grandmother, she has always been like my biggest fan, right? Like
Mm,
she's always the one who I'm like, oh, grandma, I don't know if I could do this. And grandma's like, baby, you can do it. You can do anything you want to do.
mhm.
All you got to do is look in your heart. I said, well, grandma, I don't think I can fly off this building. Okay, you got to look yourself in the eye and say, I can fly off this building. And I bet you're gonna soar. You're gonna soar. I'm like, I don't feel like that. I just feel like scientifically it's not going to work that way. She's like, well, you got to believe in yourself. Also, I will say
Yeah.
she has always said she's like, baby, when you back there and you getting ready, don't matter if it's no audition, no matter if you performing, you got to plead the blood of Jesus over everything. And I was like, okay, grandma, and I have,
Mhm.
and I do. Um,
Mm.
she is 91 and
God bless.
still has the same instructions, the same things she feels like I need to do. Um,
Mm.
I would say also another influence probably would be, I mean, and this is going to sound a bit weird, but my
No.
voice teacher's death is really kind of what kicked everything off, right? Like
Okay.
I I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a doctor. I was studying, I loved, still do love science, right? It was weird too, though, because I feel like the last 3 years of high school, my studies were specifically physics. So that was odd, especially because I was like, I'm going to be an OBGYN. That's what I'm going to do. And I was working in the Department of Transplant Surgery at University of Illinois, Chicago. I was there for like a summer program. And I remember like my supervisor, Mike, he was like, um, I'm almost done. And I was like, man, that's great, man. High five. And he was like, yeah, man, 12 years. And I was like, oh, what you mean 12? And this was like junior year summer into senior year. And I was like, what do you mean 12? And he was like, well, I mean, yeah, first you have you have regular school, you know what I'm saying? You got grad school, you got med school, you got residency, I was like, huh? What? I'm sorry, what did you I fell asleep after you said grad school. Like I wasn't listening. I wasn't listening. I'm not doing that, right? I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And I came home and I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm not gonna do that. And my auntie Pam, my father was from Itabena, Mississippi. Many celebrities haven't come out of Itabena, except for Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice went to Mississippi Valley State, which is right next to Itabena. Itabena and Greenwood are kind of like this, but um, it was interesting because my auntie Pam, she was talking to my dad, and my dad was just like casually talking to her, like, boy don't know what he want to do. Say he don't want to go to school no more for medicine. And I had already been accepted into Emory. I was gonna go there, and then that's what I was gonna do, pre-med,
Wow.
and she was like, well, then what's he gonna do? My dad was like, I don't know. And she was like, well, he sang, don't he? He sang good. Why don't he go to school for singing? My dad was like, hold on. Hey, your Auntie Pam say you sing good. Why don't you go for singing? And I was like, maybe I will. So like that was the reason I went to college for singing, um, for vocal performance. But what got me going was my voice teacher, Robert Berthold, God rest his soul. He used to work with me at the Fine Arts Building while I was in high school. And I had been in the Marriott Music School program through high school. But I was also like working with him privately. And once I was through with college, I sang in Paris. I sang in Notre Dame. I sang solo there. I sang in Rome, Venice, Florence, Austria, like Strasbourg, Salzburg. Like I was all over the place. And then I came home and I did a regular job because I thought that that's what people did when they got out of college.
Yeah.
Because I was still on the path of doing something that I thought was the normal societal thing versus like I wasn't passionate about it yet. I was just people just said you're good at it, so I did it, right? And it wasn't until my voice teacher died 2 years later out of college that like he he like gave me a note, like he knew he was going to die,
Mm.
and he wrote a note to me, and the summary of said note was, "What have you done with your life?"
Mm.
And at that point, I hadn't done much, right? I just was like, I mean, I'm living, right?
Mm.
I can drive a car, I'm going to restaurants, I'm living my life, but I'm not really doing anything, right? It's just a day-to-day thing.
Mm.
And I was still taking voice lessons with him, but I wasn't applying it. I would just come in, I'd spend time with him, I'd sing, done. Um, and so when I read that, I was like, I should do something. I I don't know what it is, but I gotta do something. I gotta I have to change the pattern. Um, and so I did. Um, I just I kind of tried to get myself prepared for auditioning because I didn't know what to do because I hadn't thought about it. I hadn't thought
Yeah.
about what I was gonna do. I was like, I don't know. I didn't know about headshots. I didn't know about having a book. I didn't know about 16 bars. I didn't know any of this stuff.
Mm.
And I think after he passed, I just kind of dug in, tried to figure out what I needed. And then that following year, I auditioned for The Gondoliers, which was with the Hyde Park Gilbert and Sullivan Society. And and I was playing Giuseppe, and I booked it. And then I booked I booked a show at Black Ensemble Theater. Mama said there'd be days like this.
Mm.
Um, History of the girl groups, 50s, 60s, 70s. And then I just kept going. And so here I am.
What a story. As well as I've known you, I've known you a long time, but we've never really had an in-depth conversation like this. I had no clue pre-med, all of that backstory about you. That
Oh,
just incredible. What a
oh,
360.
thank you. Yeah, it was wild. It was wild, but
I imagine.
these things they happen for a reason. And now
Yeah.
like I couldn't imagine I couldn't imagine not doing this. So,
But we're happy you are.
thank you.
You bet, brother. Tell us some of your favorite theater moments, either
Ah,
personal ones or ones you've experienced as an audience member, two or three if possible, or otherwise maybe just one that sticks out.
sure. So I will say, um, I will say very quickly because people are like, oh, what's your favorite show? I would say my top five shows for various reasons. I love doing Shrek because I think I like Eddie Murphy is my idol, and I loved playing Donkey and just
Oh,
like,
I saw that too at Chicago
listen,
Shakes, right?
yep, in the morning I'm making
It's,
pops. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I remember
so
seeing that too.
I did that. I loved Five Guys Named Moe, and Scottsboro Boys. Scottsboro Boys is at Porchlight. Five Guys Named Moe is at Court.
And I saw that too. I forgot that because my buddy Darian Ford was in that as well.
Yes,
And
yes,
I forgot that I had seen you in that. So it's all coming
yes,
back to me now. Keep
yeah.
going,
Well,
please.
well, listen. I feel like it is rare to have shows that have um one and an entire black cast, but
Hmm.
then also black men,
Mm.
right? And so Scottsboro Boys and Five Guys Named Moe hold like a very special place in my heart. Come From Away, obviously, because it is like this amazing love letter to humanity that just that just like as much as possible like instructs people to just be kind and to do better
Hmm.
uh, when you know better.
Yeah.
Um, and I would say the last one on that list would be actually surprisingly Spelling Bee. Um, it was my it was my first big show directed by James Lapine here in Chicago, and it was like, yo, this is great. I'm playing three different roles, and I'm working with this Broadway veteran director, and um, I did the show for almost 2 years, and it's I will say that like my a couple of really great experiences, specifically with Spelling Bee and Come From Away, was like with Come From Away, I can remember seeing people like viscerally reacting, weeping, crying, right? And you talk to them afterwards and they're just like pre-pandemic, like you could go into the lobby, you're at the stage door, and you're watching these people who don't know each other hugging, right? They're hugging, they're shaking hands, right? And you're like, they don't know each other from Adam, right? But
Hmm.
but it just makes people feel better. And so they want to interact more, right?
Hmm.
Obviously, we've had plenty of stories that people have told us where they were on 9/11, that really moved us. And also, like the fact that I have had an opportunity to meet all of the people that we characterize.
Oh, wow.
We've shared stories. I've been to Gander. I've spent time there. Um, so Come From Away in itself is one in itself just a fantastic memory. I will say one of my fave moments though was, and God bless Harder, um, we would be stage left waiting to go out for the very last moment, and there's the there's the Bonnie track. She works for the SPCA and she's giving this very heartfelt monologue to this bonobo chimpanzee about how it lost its baby, um and like you're gonna be okay. And it's we don't have much time off the stage ever really in that show anyway, but
Right.
in this very moment, Kevin Carolyn, who did Jungle Book here in Chicago at the Goodman, but Kevin and Harder, we would be standing stage left waiting to go on. And actually, Christine Toy Johnson, she was there too. So we're all there in this clump waiting to go on, move the tables, move the chairs for the final big move to create the plane. And every day, Kevin would tell an awful dad joke, right? And at some point, Harder used to start piggybacking off his dad joke with, I mean, it's like a granddaddy joke. It was like worse than the dad joke. He would say it and then we'd run on stage. Well, the problem was the woman playing Bonnie that day, one of our standbys, her rhythm was different.
Oh.
Her rhythm was different in the monologue she delivered. So Kevin tells his joke, Harder tells his part of the joke, and then he dashes off stage. He runs. He's going on stage. But the problem was she wasn't through. So she's like, and I know you lost your baby. And Harder's running. And he realizes in the moment when the light, like, because he's actually running kind of in the dark, but
Yeah.
a fizzle of the light hits his jeans and he realizes, sweet Jesus, not not yet. But he's already run, right? So he was like, he told the joke, ha ha ha. Oh no. And then he just stands, he gets over to the table, and he just holds the table
Oh
out
my
there by
God.
himself, hold the table. And the woman's just like, I lost three of I and, I have three of my own, and sometimes, you just get tired of those. You're gonna be okay. Meanwhile, Hart is just holding the table.
Oh.
Mm. That's all he can do. He's just a mannequin, just holding that table. It was
Oh.
one of the best moments ever. Um, ever, ever. So I loved that moment. That moment just it sticks to me. Um, and it's interesting when I was in South Carolina. So I'm in Greenville, I'm in LA, a couple other cities where people actually I have a picture with these kids from Shrek who then saw me do Come From Away in LA.
Oh,
Now the boy is much taller. He's much
I'm
taller.
sure. Yeah.
And they're like, you may not remember us. They had the picture ready. They were like, you may not remember us. This was from Shrek. You played Donkey. And I'm like, that was 5 years ago. And they were like, mm-hmm. Then I went to Greenville, and this kid was like super. I mean, he was like 6'5", but a young kid. And he's like, you don't remember me. Let me do it better like this. You don't remember me because I'm shorter than him. He was like, but you gave me a juice box. I came to see your show, Spelling Bee, and you gave me a juice box and sang me off stage. And I was like, my God. Which is which is crazy because, and I know we're not going into Company, but when I was doing the first national tour of Company, two different people, Kyle, who was our head carpenter, and Matt Roden, who played Jamie, both saw me doing Spelling Bee, and I gave them juice boxes as well. It was like really kind of wild because I'm like
That is fantastic.
0607, and then they're like, I remember this, and it's 2020, 2023.
Wow. I
Crazy.
love that. Those are the stories that, you know, make you feel like what you're doing, I don't want to say makes a difference because it does make a difference, but when people remember you from that many years earlier, you
Yeah.
made an impression with them enough for them to seek you out later to say, you're not going to remember this, but and
Right.
did you remember any of those experiences?
When I saw the picture, it like came back to me, right? But it's
Sure.
like it's it's wild because um I feel like it is it is a gift to perform, right?
Hmm.
It is my pleasure to perform for you. And so like, and some directors have said this, it's like we're not bowing so that you can, applaud us. We're bowing because we're like, thank you so much for coming. Thank you
Yes.
so much for supporting live theater. Thank you so much for supporting opera, plays. It's and so I love that, like, when after a show you can talk to someone and you have brightened their day, you have made a difference, you have made them forget, you've allowed them an escape, you've given them a fond memory, right? that
Hmm.
is that is one of the best things, because it's like sometimes you perform and there are people out there, and it's no judgment, but there are some performers who feel like if they don't get a specific reaction, it lessens their experience as a performer,
Hmm.
and like what they expect and what they can produce, what they can give out, right? But it just needs to be like one person, right? One person
Hmm.
out there, one person out there is changed. One
Hmm.
person out there is affected. One person out there is excited about theater. One person out there is excited about the story, wants to know more. And
Hmm.
that to me is the most important thing, is that I know that somebody somewhere out there has changed, has has been a part of an amazing experience, and like
Mhm.
that's all you want. That's all you can ever hope for.
Bravo. Well said. Well, this experience, I have to tell you, was a thrill for me to have you on. I know we've been talking about it, been texting feverishly the last 2 months to try and get you on
Yeah.
here. But
Yeah.
I'm glad we finally got it to work out with our
Me too.
schedules.
Yes.
I hope I get an opportunity to share the stage with you again someday. It was an extreme pleasure when I had the opportunity. And, I'm glad that we've kept in touch all these years and that you're back here in Chicago for a short spell and we've
Yeah.
had a chance to do this. So,
Well, listen, it's been a long time since we shared the stage with Patty.
yes, and I don't think that's ever going to happen again.
I I don't think it is either, although I did share it again with her for the 125th anniversary at the Auditorium Theater.
Oh, that was recent, right? Like,
Yeah, that was 2014.
oh,
2014 or 2015.
okay, yeah, relatively recent. I mean, more
I mean,
recently than when we worked together. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well,
Ah,
you got one more notch on your belt, your patty belt than I do. Lucky
yeah,
you.
well, listen,
Hey, my friend,
I don't want to brag.
where can our friends listening find you online? Are you on any of the social medias?
I'm not.
You're not. That's okay. They're going to find you right here on the Chicago Theater Makers podcast. And
Absolutely.
once again, appreciate your time, my friend.
All right, love you, buddy.
You too, pal. Thanks for joining us at the Chicago Theater Makers podcast. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. The Chicago Theater Makers podcast is a production of Spirit Art LLC, and our podcast theme music is by Paul Langford. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on the podcast, please drop us a note at our website, ChiTheaterMakersPodcast.com. That's ChiTheater, makers with an S, podcast.com. We hope you enjoyed spending time with us as much as we enjoyed spending it with you, and we'll see you on the board soon.